Yo, welcome back, guys. So, what is it? The biggest problem that singers face? Now, I'm talking about struggling singers, singers that can't sing high without loads of strain coming in, singers that their range is very inhibited. There is a brick wall. Yeah, the real hard cases that take a long time to get better. I include myself in that bracket. Took me a long time and many years of work to get range extension and find anything in head voice that was remotely free. Took me a long time, so I know the struggle. The hardest thing that these guys face isn't necessarily really technique. Learning technique is, maybe half the problem, a third of the problem. The problem is there's something in the way that inhibits them even learning technique. That wall is real. And what I mean by that is essentially that wall locks them out from learning that part of their voice. They actually can't learn that part of their voice until certain prerequisites are met, until those walls have squished up a bit, pushed up a bit, been broken down a little bit here and there. Then they can begin the process of learning to sing in the head voice. But at first, it's essentially very difficult, if not impossible, for some of these people. They have nothing up there. They just have push above middle C. Now, why is this? Why is it that we have some people, probably in the majority, I'd say, that have a relatively free head voice from the get-go? They've got some extension in their higher range, and they can kind of just learn to sing. I've got many students like this at the minute that can just learn to sing from the get-go. There's nothing in the way. They just have to learn the skills, and that's it. Now, conversely, other students I have that are in the minority, they've got other things they're trying to figure out. And what this thing is, ultimately, is that at some point in their range, the fight or flight mechanism in their mind starts taking over from the normal, calm, day-to-day mindset that you'd have when you were, cooking food or making breakfast, cooking food, going to work, whatever it is, sitting on your computer, that normal, just calm, open mindset. At some point in their range, the fight or flight mechanism kicks in. And when that kicks in, it basically inhibits and prevents them from singing freely. So, what we're trying to do when we work with these kinds of singers, the real hard cases, is we're trying to get them to understand that probably half of what they're going to have to work on is this emotional control, basically, I would call it, is developing a sense of when that panic mechanism is kicking in, developing a sense of why that panic mechanism might be kicking in, and developing a sense of control over it, beginning the long process of starting to inhibit that panic mechanism, inhibit that fight or flight response. And over time, they can take a big deep breath and start to approach it from a more calm mindset. Usually it's things like the fear of not being very good, and wanting to be a great singer very quickly, or this sense in the family culture of things like, if you're not the best at something, if you're not great very quickly, if you're not quote unquote talented, then you're not good enough. You lose value as a human being. So there's some misconceptions in just the basic approach to life, and usually the culture in families and stuff like that can impact these basic values. And unfortunately for some people, if they're in a bit of a negative environment, an environment where they're seen as not good enough, these types of attitudes will create that fight and flight response. It will create that panic, and it will create that likelihood that the singer's going to drift off into that awful place that creates all sorts of problems. Now, this response can happen at various parts of the range. Some people, frankly, have a little bit of it, but it's high enough in their range that it's not going to impact them much, so they can kind of get away with it. They won't necessarily have to deal with it, because most songs they're going to have to sing aren't going to go that high. Conversely, if you've got a mid-range male voice or a lower range male voice, and you've got a significant amount of this fight or flight in your range, say, from the mid-range onwards, it just is going to lock you out of singing most pop songs. So then you have no choice if you want to be a successful singer, or at least a singer that can put something across relatively well. Your choice is either I sing exclusively in chest voice, which isn't particularly exciting for the listener, or I start fighting that battle, figuring out, like, why am I panicking? Why do I go into this different mindset? Why do I switch into this place of that's what it feels like. It's like like, oh my word, it's a nightmare, and it just locks you out. So when we talk about learning to sing for these hard cases, it's this strange conundrum of, in order to learn to sing, they've also got to deal with some of these issues, because these issues lock them out of the learning process effectively. And so they have to deal with it one way or another. And as they get better and they just eke a bit more space into that head range, eke a bit more flexibility into their voice, they can start piecing together again. But with these types of singers, they aren't learning to sing from scratch like the people that are lucky enough to not have this issue, who just learn the skills. They're having to undo, unwind, think, and deal with a lot of things on top of just the basic learning process of learning the coordinations and learning the skill set. So you've got this kind of double whammy of issues that come together and interact in various ways. Makes it very, very complicated for them to learn to sing. In all honesty, one of the reasons why some of the coaches out there have some misguided information, they have information that will help a lot of singers, but it won't help singers like me, is because when they started to sing, they didn't have this mechanism, this panic mechanism, to any significant degree. So they just haven't dealt with it. They haven't lived through it. So to them, it doesn't even exist. They're like, they don't get it, quite frankly. Now, because I'm a mental case and I've got stupid amounts of drive and I'm extremely stubborn, when I started to sing and I had all these problems, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And so I just drilled away and thought about all this stuff for years and years and years, and eventually freed up my voice, and now I sing freely. But people assume that I just started that way. They don't realise where I came from, and I'm a bit of a unicorn in that respect. I've met very few singers, if any, who've come from as difficult a spot as I started and got as far along as I have. And that's what puts me in a unique position, frankly, among other coaches, and puts me in a position to help some of the harder cases out there, because I have grinded it out and understand the process you have to go through. Unfortunately, the truth is that some singers in that, buried in that quagmire, I guess you'd say, of problems that that intersect, as much as I dislike that word where it's used nowadays, but these problems intersect. This quagmire of problems. Frankly speaking, many of them are never going to get out of that hole, because it's too hard, it takes too much time, and it's too challenging. But some of them will, and the ones that do will become great coaches and great singers, because they will value their skills a lot more than the natural, or even the singer that wasn't necessarily that natural but learnt it without all that baggage, and dealing with all that baggage. So they won't take it for granted, and they will really understand the deeper complexities of some of these problems, and how it's all well and good talking about support and all these things, and release and head voice and chest and mix and all these terms and M1 and M2, all this stuff. But when you get down to brass tacks, all that stuff has to come after any of this, fight and flight stuff and panic response, all this stuff. All that has to come before you can even start thinking about, those terms and what they mean and how to learn the different coordinations and stuff. It's just, there's so much information out there about, all this terminology and how to do this and how to do that. And it's Yeah, but I know for a fact there's some people out there that literally, they as soon as they get above middle C, they just hit a brick wall, and they can't get any higher. And I'm asking myself, why is that? Unfortunately for me, I'm able to answer some of those questions, and I'm able to bring some of those answers to you. But there's so little information out there to help these types of singers, and it's unfortunate, really, because somebody like me, who was a guitar player and then became a singer, I actually had a lot of potential to become a great singer, but was written off numerous times purely because of this fight or flight response that I had. And no coaches frankly know how to deal with it, how to get rid of it. They kind of just accept it and say, well, there's nothing we can do about that. That's just his voice, quote unquote. And it's a sad situation, because really you can become a great singer, in all honesty, if you've got the if you've got the graft and you've got the time, and you've got the the stubbornness to really battle through these demons. On the other side of that, you can become great. A lot of the music performances I'm putting out of myself singing live recently, I'm happy with. I look back months later and I'm like, that's good, man. That is really good. And I never thought I would get to that place. I never thought I'd get to a place where I'd be like, man, I'm doing really good here. Like, this is basically everything I wanted to be as a singer. It's a nice place to be, man. It's a nice place to be. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. Feel free to respond, to tell me what you think about these issues, and let me know, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want my help personally, you can book a one-on-one training session. Drop me a message. My email is in the description. And if you feel like this message was of value, then please feel free to make a donation equal to that value. Again, donation link is in the description. And finally, please share this video with other singers you know. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in another video. Bye.